It's kind of funny. So doing these series, there are some that work really well. There's some that really resonate and they get a lot of attention, and then there's other ones that just sort of languish. And there's a core audience that really likes looking back at classic series, and there's some that don't. And so I haven't done one of these in a couple of days. And last night I thought, well, I'll look at the 1989 playoffs. I'm not going to cover Calgary and Vancouver because I've talked about Calgary and Vancouver, and it's predictable I'd look at Calgary Vancouver. And I don't know how newsworthy Calgary Vancouver is outside of Vancouver, to be honest. But this series was very newsworthy. So we go back to the previous summer. Wayne Gretzky is sold to the LA King. And there's no other way to really look at it. There really isn't. The amount of value that the Oilers get back in that trade, they sold him. So he becomes a member of the LA Kings. They immediately changed their logo and their jerseys. Fantastic timing with a rebrand. And this is a story of a team all coming together and suddenly not being a joke anymore. Now that they go on to a 42-31-7 season, very good record. LA had been mostly terrible throughout the 80s. They score 376 goals, which is first in the NHL, but they allow 335, which ranks them 16th out of 21 teams defensively. Now, on the other side of things, Edmonton, well, now Messier's their leader. They don't have Gretzky, and the question immediately becomes, can they win without Wayne Gretzky? They end up 38-34-8, a record which is terrible by Oilers standards for the 80s. They score 325 goals, which is fourth overall, so they miss them offensively, but they're still able to score goals. They allow 306 goals, which is 11th out of 21, so right around the middle. So their overall numbers are not much worse than the Kings. And when we go into this series in the first round, a lot of people are quite excited. So you have second and third place against each other, second and third, and so we're all wondering what's going to happen with the Kings and the Oilers. And the way that this series unfolds, it just stays very, very unpredictable right up until, well, the last game. And this was a series that was kind of unforgettable. Now, the Kings would go on to get swept in round two. And that was just a bonkers series as well. But this was kind of considered somewhat of an upset, although I don't know, like going into this series, I think there were a lot of people who went, well, it's the Oilers. They've won a bunch of Stanley Cups. They're going to win. They're going to beat the LA Kings. The Kings have Gretzky and a bunch of other guys. They've had a nice run. It's been, momentum more than anything. They're not that good. And then there were some who understood it's Gretzky. Gretzky can pull these guys through at least a round of playoffs. So game one in LA. LA with home ice in this. Not that home ice necessarily means a whole lot yet again, although it did mean a lot more in this series than it did in other series that I've covered. So game one in LA, the power play is a big part of the scoring. Power play goal for Chris Kontos from Bernie Nichols at 101. Yes, Kontos, this was his John Druce coming out. Kontos was a big name because he had this amazing run this season. Power play goal then for Johnson of the Oilers from Tikkanen and Carson at 16:54. One of the less talked about storylines that Jimmy Carson, who had been a King, was traded to the Oilers in that whole deal the previous summer. And second period, power play goal by Charlie Huddy. Messier and Curry with the assists at 13:58. So Jari Curry also trying to show he can survive without Gretzky. Power play goal then by Steve Duchesne of the LA Kings to tie it up at 2 at 19 minutes and 33 seconds. One of those goals in the last minute of a period kind of things, and it ties it up at 2. Third period, again, it's a power play goal. It's Mike Krushelnyski, who was traded with Gretzky to the Kings, from Duchesne and Gretzky at 2 minutes and 55 seconds. It's 3-2 in favor of the Kings, but doesn't stay that way. Late in the period, Tikkanen scores from Muni and Curry at 16:06. And then Craig Simpson, now known as an analyst, he scores from Anderson and Messier at 17:13. And the Oilers steal a win in LA 4-3. So Fuhrer saves 23 of 26. Glenn Healy saves 31 out of 35. And that's all we'll see of him in this series. That's it. So we go to game two. LA has to win. And they do. LA finds a way to pull it out. First period, again, it's a power play goal, and again, it's Chris Kontos with the goal from Nichols and Gretzky at 10 minutes and 1 second. So LA has a 1-0 lead after one. Second period, almost halfway through, Messier ties it up from Steve Smith at 7:36. But 24 seconds later, it's Bernie Nichols from Luke Robitaille at 8 minutes. Nichols had an amazing season that year. This was his dream season, and it kind of continued in the playoffs. Kontos would then score again from Casper and Laidlaw at 13:12, and then Gretzky would add a goal from Jim Weimer at 15:52. Before the period's out, the Oilers make it a 2-goal game again. It's a power play goal for Janssen from Messier at 17:50. So it's 4-2 after 2, and we go into the third period. Hey, look, it's a power play goal, and hey, look, it's Chris Kontos again from Nichols and Duchesne at 1 minute and 20 seconds, and the LA Kings blow the doors off the Oilers with a 5-2 win. Fuhr saves 39 out of 44 in the loss. Kelly Hrudey saves 20 out of 22. And one of the storylines as well, we don't realize this is the last hurrah for Grant Fuhr as a starter for the Oilers in the playoffs. Jim Ranford's about to take over that job. He would do that the following season. So we go to Game 3. It's in Edmonton. It's a tie series. The Oilers, well, early. Carson, power play goal from Messier at 15 minutes. And then 16 seconds later, Steve Smith scores from Tikkanen and Curry. So at 15 minutes and 16 seconds, it's 2-0 Oilers. Second period, shorthanded goal by Jari Kurri from Mark Messier at 2:24. They were still dangerous shorthanded even without Gretzky. And then about a minute later, at 3 minutes and 35 seconds, Curry scores from Lamb and Tikkanen. And it's 4-0 for the Oilers. There's no scoring from there. That's it. The rest of the second, third period, no scoring. And Kelly Hrudey didn't face a ton of shots. That's the damning part of this. Hrudey only faced 14 shots and saved 10 of them. And then Healy goes in and saves 3 out of 3 in relief. Let me just go ahead and fix that. I had Healy with an E at the end. It wasn't EY, it was just Y. So yeah, Healy in there, and 3 out of 3 for him. Grant Fuhr saves 26 for the shutout. So shutout for Grant Fuhr, and that makes it 2-1 in favor of the Oilers in this series. So we go into Game 4. It's in Edmonton, and the Oilers assert themselves with that home ice advantage. So Huddy scores first from McClelland and Lacombe at 4:47. So Kevin McClelland on the scoreboard as well. Steve Duchesne then scores the tying goal from Dave Taylor and Wayne Gretzky at 7 minutes and 11 seconds. But Jimmy Carson scores from Lowe late in that period to make it 2-1 for the Oilers. So we go to the second period. Second period, it's a power play goal. And who gets it? Chris Kontos. He gets the goal from Nichols and Gretzky at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And then it's Tom Laidlaw with a goal from Gretzky and Krushelnyski at 18:14. That makes it 3-2 in favor of the LA Kings. The Oilers need a rally at home. Well, it's the Oilers. It's the 80s. They get it. It's Lacombe scoring from McClelland and Smith at 5:16, and then it's Steve Smith scoring from Messier and McTavish at 19:34. So in the last minute of the third period, they get that game-winning goal. They win the game 4-3. Kelly Hrudey, 28 saves on 32 shots. Grant Fuhr, 26 saves on 29 shots. Remember with Kelly Hrudey, I mean, everybody looks back now and they think of the bandana he was wearing, he had the sweatband and all of that, and just his look and his mask and all that. I remember there being some debate about whether or not Kelly Hrudey was good enough to get the Kings to a Stanley Cup. I remember that debate about Hrudey when he came out of New York and he went to LA. Is he a goaltender who can backstop a team to a championship? And series like this kept that line open. So we go to Game 5. It is a 3-1 series lead for the Edmonton Oilers. This is at a time where 3-1 comebacks, almost completely unheard of. They would be very, very much heard of over the next 15 years. But at this stage, no, once you've got a 3-1 series lead, your series is over. So the Oilers likely already thinking, all right, so we're going to end up probably against Calgary. That Calgary-Vancouver series goes to 7 games. Probably going to end up against Calgary. We're going to see the Battle of Alberta again in 1989. In LA, it's a power play goal. It's Chris Kontos. I can't make this up. He scores from Gretzky and Krushelnyski at 6:24. So we go into the second period with LA up 1-0. It's a power play goal. It's Bernie Nichols from Gretzky and Robitaille at 5:32. But the Oilers get a power play and they score on theirs as well. Glenn Anderson from Curry and Messier at 7:38. That makes it 2-1. But then Luc Robitaille would score from Taylor and Kennedy at 9:44. So it's 3-1 for LA about halfway through the second period, and it stays that way until the third. Third period, Lacombe gets a goal from Lamb and Lowe at 15:55. So that makes it close, but before the Oilers can get too excited about it, Wayne Gretzky gets a goal from Waters at 18:43, and that makes it a 4-2 win for the LA Kings. They stay alive at home. But now we're going to go to Edmonton. Grant Fuhr saves 39 out of 43 in the loss. Rudy saves 32 out of 34 in the win. And again, we're going to Edmonton, so all Edmonton has to do is win at home. Game 6, at home, Oilers can win this. And Dr. Randy Gregg, scores from Anderson and Messier at 33 seconds. So first minute of Game 6, Oilers fans going insane. They're going to win this. Here we go. They're up 3-2. They're not going to blow it. Second period, Mike Allison scores from Casper and Kennedy at 16:22. Tie game entering the third. Again, it's Edmonton. It's in Edmonton. The Oilers are great at this. Jim Weimer scores from Taylor and Laidlaw at 4:14 to make it a 2-1 lead for the LA Kings. Then Kontos, again on the board, from Gretzky and McSorley at 8:19. It's 3-1 in favor of the Kings. Luc Robitaille scores from Nichols and Dale DeGray at 12:13. And a shocker. The LA Kings win 4-1 in Edmonton. 22 saves on 23 shots for Kelly Rudy. Grant Fuhr saves 25 out of 29 for the Edmonton Oilers. And so we go to Game 7. We go to Game 7 in LA. And Game 7 is crazy out of the gate. Wayne Gretzky scores from McSorley and Miller at 52 seconds. So who had Jay Miller getting on the board with an assist? Not me. Yari Curry from Messier and Muni at 4:48. That ties it up. But we get a power play goal, and who scores it? Yeah, Chris Kontos. Of course he does. He gets it from Nichols and Duchesne at 11:56. It's 2-1 LA entering the second period. Second period, first minute. On a power play, Craig Simpson ties it up from Curry and Messier at 34 seconds. LA's not letting this one get away. Bernie Nichols restores the lead from Dave Taylor and Luc Robitaille at 6:51. But the Oilers resilient. Less than a minute later, it is Kevin Lowe who gets a goal from Messier and Muni at 7:48. So it is the battle of Gretzky against the Oilers, the battle we never thought we'd see. It's Game 7, and it's tied at 3 halfway through Game 7. It's a Hollywood script. Power play goal then by Nichols from Gretzky and Casper at 16:23. So late in the second, they get the lead, and they enter the third with said lead. It is a power play goal by DeGray from Nichols and Robitaille at 14 minutes and 50 seconds. They pull the goalie. They pull the goalie with a power play to get a 6-on-4. While they do so, Gretzky ends up getting a pass from Casper at 18:25 and puts it into the net. So Wayne Gretzky finishes off the Edmonton Oilers. Less than a year after they traded him, he's now broken the hearts of Oiler fans everywhere. Not that Oiler fans, as I remember, were very angry with Gretzky. It was more of a Pocklington anger that they had at this stage. Grant Fuhr saves 24 out of 29. Kelly Rudy saves 31 out of 34 and would go on to round 2 with the rest of the Kings. In a shocker, the Edmonton Oilers lose to the LA Kings. Messier, a goal and 11 assists in this series. Curry had 3 goals and 5 assists. Grant Fuhr went 3-4 in this series with an .894 save percentage. Wayne Gretzky, 4 goals and 9 assists, 13 points in 7 games against his former teammates. Bernie Nichols, 4 goals and 7 assists as he continued what he'd started in the regular season with an excellent playoff. Chris Kontos, 8 goals and 0 assists in 7 games for Kontos. Luc Robitaille, 2 goals and 4 assists for him in this series. Kind of noteworthy in that he ends up with less than a point a game and 6 less goals than Kontos. Rudy went 4-2 with an .899 save percentage. Glenn Healy 0-1 with an .895 save percentage in the 2 appearances that he had. But this was a great series. And I'm sure with the NHL right now unlocking the vault to a bunch of old hockey, look this series up. This was some great hockey. And it signaled a huge shift. The Oilers would go on and win a Stanley Cup again after this, but it felt like the dynasty was kind of done. And, you know, the certainty that the dynasty was done wasn't until the 92 playoffs, but this really was a kick in the gut for Oiler fans. Because again, they see Gretzky traded, sold off in their division by the owner, Peter Pocklington. And now, less than a year later, they're losing to that divisional rival. And it's Gretzky who's leading the scoring parade for them. You take Gretzky off the Kings, you put him in Edmonton, this series is a sweep for Edmonton. But you put him on the Kings win the series in 7, and they have a 3-1 series comeback in order to do so. Fantastic series. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. I'm not anticipating maybe doing these every day. I wanted to do this one because to me it felt like it was a seismic shift in everything at the end of the 80s. So again, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.